I've worked as a line cook at Giovanni's Trattoria for 3 years, and nothing could have prepared me for the night that almost ended my career. Before I dive in, make sure to subscribe if you like real workplace stories, and tell me in the comments, who do you think was really in the wrong here? Here's the cast: me, Marcus, steady line cook who just wants to keep his head down. Then there's Tyler, our hot-headed prep cook, always cutting corners. And Maria, our pastry chef, who never gets involved in drama. Finally, Chef Reynolds, the boss. He's strict, old school, and prides himself on running a perfect kitchen. His motive is simple: perfection at all costs. Tyler? He wants recognition without the grind. Maria? She just wants peace and her desserts untouched. It all began on a Saturday dinner rush. Orders were flying in: veal marsala, lasagna, endless pizzas. I noticed Tyler slipping something into the walk-in cooler. It wasn't food. It looked like a crumpled envelope. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But when Chef started screaming about missing product, I realized something was seriously wrong. That envelope Tyler stashed? It was about to drag all of us into chaos, and I knew I couldn't ignore it. What would you do if you caught a coworker hiding something suspicious during a rush? I tried to shake it off and focus on my station, but every time I turned toward the cooler, my eyes went straight to that hidden envelope. The orders kept piling, the heat from the ovens roasted my back, and Chef Reynolds barked like a drill sergeant. But my brain kept circling back: why would Tyler hide something during the busiest hour of the night? The tension snapped when Chef noticed a missing case of prosciutto. He stormed down the line, demanding answers. That's $200 worth of meat gone. Who touched my inventory? Everyone froze. Maria stared at her mixing bowl. Tyler shrugged like he didn't care. I kept my mouth shut, but my chest pounded. Later, when I ducked into the cooler for basil, I saw the envelope had shifted. Curiosity won. I peeked. Inside were receipts, handwritten notes, and what looked like cash. A lot of cash. My throat went dry. Before I could process, Tyler appeared behind me. His voice dropped low: "See something you like, Marcus?" His eyes locked on mine, sharp and dangerous. I muttered something about basil and walked out, but my hands were shaking. The missing product, the hidden envelope, Tyler's threat, it all pointed to something big. And the more I thought about it, the more I knew Chef Reynolds wasn't going to let this slide. But the real storm was coming when Chef decided to check the security cameras. Chef Reynolds wasn't a man who trusted anyone blindly. By the time the dinner rush calmed, he'd already ordered the security footage pulled from the back hallway and cooler entrance. He gathered us in the cramped office, arms crossed, jaw tight. If product's walking out of my kitchen, I'll know who's responsible. I stood shoulder to shoulder with Maria, who whispered nervously, "This is bad." Tyler leaned against the wall, smirking, like none of this applied to him. The screen flickered, and there it was, grainy footage of Tyler shoving something into the cooler earlier that night. My stomach lurched, exactly when I saw the envelope. Chef leaned forward. "Pause it." Zoom. The image wasn't clear enough to see the cache, but it was obvious Tyler was hiding something. "Care to explain, Tyler?" Chef's voice was razor sharp. Tyler didn't even blink. "That? Just personal stuff. I don't trust leaving my wallet in the lockers." The casual tone sent a chill through me. He wasn't panicked at all. Chef wasn't buying it. He turned to me, eyes narrowing. "Marcus, you were in the cooler right after this. Did you see anything?" My pulse hammered. If I told the truth, Tyler would come after me. If I lied, Chef might think I was covering for him. The room fell silent, and everyone waited for my answer. And that's when the unexpected interruption made everything worse. Just as I opened my mouth, the office door banged open. One of the servers, Jenna, rushed in breathless. "Chef, the delivery truck's here, and they're demanding a signature now." Her timing was almost too perfect. Chef snapped, "Tell them to wait," but Jenna shook her head. "They said something's off with the invoice." Chef growled and stormed out, muttering about incompetence. That left me, Tyler, and Maria alone in the office. The air felt heavier than the steam rising from the pasta pots. Tyler's eyes bored into me. "So, Marcus," he said, his voice low and almost mocking, "what did you see in the cooler?" I forced a steady tone. "Just basil. Like I told you." My hands were clenched behind my back so he wouldn't see them shaking. Maria looked from him to me, clearly sensing the tension. She whispered, "Guys, please. Don't drag me into this." Tyler leaned closer, his smirk never fading. "Good. Keep it that way." Then he walked out like nothing was wrong. Maria finally exhaled, then turned to me. "Marcus, if Chef digs deeper, you're going to get pulled into this no matter what." Her warning was an exaggeration. Because moments later, Chef returned from the loading dock furious, slamming down an invoice with half the items missing, and a signature that didn't look like his. And the name on the signature line made my stomach drop. The invoice Chef threw onto the desk had his name scribbled across the bottom, but it was sloppy, rushed, and nothing like his usual bold signature. His face was crimson. Someone forged my name to sign off on this delivery. That's theft, and whoever did it is done here. Maria gasped quietly. I studied the handwriting and instantly knew it wasn't Chef's. But I also knew it wasn't mine or Maria's. Tyler, though. I'd seen his handwriting on prep lists and notes. It was an uncanny match. Chef turned his sharp gaze toward us. 3 people had access to this back door tonight. One of you knows something. His eyes lingered on me. My throat went dry. Tyler reappeared in the doorway, wiping his hands on a towel like he'd just finished something mundane. "What's going on?" he asked, feigning innocence. Chef shoved the invoice at him. Tyler studied it, then laughed. "That doesn't even look like my writing. Why would I risk my job for some missing cheese and prosciutto?" His casual dismissal only made Chef's rage burn hotter. I wanted to speak, but Maria gave me a quick shake of her head, a silent plea not to escalate. I held back, but my gut screamed that Tyler was behind this. Chef finally said, "Tomorrow, I'm pulling all the audit logs. Badge scans, deliveries, everything. If you think you're clever, you won't be for long." What would you do? Speak up with your suspicions, or wait for the audit to expose the truth? The rest of the night crawled by under a heavy cloud. Every clang of a pan or hiss of steam felt louder, sharper, like the kitchen itself knew a storm was coming. Chef kept glancing at us, muttering under his breath about crooks in his kitchen. Maria kept her head down, whisking chocolate like her life depended on it. "Tyler?" He was humming. Actually humming while he diced onions, like he enjoyed the chaos he'd stirred up. I couldn't focus. Tomorrow meant badge scans, delivery logs, and cross-checks. If Tyler's name showed up on that forged delivery, it would finally prove what I'd seen in the cooler. But if somehow my name got tangled in that paperwork, maybe for me grabbing supplies at the wrong time, I could get dragged down with him. When the shift finally ended, Chef cornered me at the door. "Marcus, you've been with me 3 years. I trust you more than most. But if you're hiding something, I'll take you down right along with him." His words hit like a punch. I walked to my car replaying the scene in the cooler, Tyler's smirk, and that envelope stuffed with cash. Evidence was stacking, but none of it was in my hands yet. The next day, when Chef actually pulled those records, I realized Tyler wasn't just sloppy, he was calculating. Morning came too fast. By noon, Chef had us crammed back into the office, stacks of papers spread across his desk. "Badge scans don't lie," he declared, tapping the log sheet. "Every swipe at the back door is here." He ran down the list. Maria swiped in at 2:57 p.m., me at 3:04 p.m., Chef himself at 3:10. Then the delivery showed up at 5:45. The forged signature was timestamped 5:48. Only one badge swipe matched that exact window. Tyler's. Chef's eyes lit with fury. "Explain this." He shoved the sheet toward him. Tyler leaned back in the chair, unfazed. "Yeah, I swiped in. I was bringing in produce. Doesn't mean I signed anything." He pointed at the paper. "That signature could have been anyone. You really think I'm dumb enough to use my own badge if I was stealing?" The room went silent. It was a bold defense, almost clever. Maria looked unconvinced, but Chef rubbed his temples, caught between anger and doubt. For a moment, I worried Tyler might actually talk his way out. Then Maria spoke softly but firmly. "Chef, last night I saw Tyler in the cooler when he didn't have prep to do. Twice." Her words hung in the air like smoke. Tyler's smirk faltered, just slightly, and I knew the game was shifting. But it shifted even harder when Chef decided to open the envelope I'd seen hidden in the cooler. Chef slammed the envelope onto the desk. This was found tucked behind a crate in the cooler. "Anyone want to claim it?" Tyler froze for the first time. Maria clasped her hands so tightly her knuckles went white. My chest tightened. I hadn't said I'd seen it before, but there it was. Chef tore it open. Out spilled crumpled bills, handwritten notes, and delivery slips. He spread them out like evidence in a trial. Cash, missing receipts, and adjustments to orders. "Looks like someone's been pocketing product and skimming money." Maria gasped. Tyler leaned forward, scanning the papers. None of that's mine. Anybody could have planted it. Hell, maybe Marcus found a way to make me look guilty. His words stabbed like knives. My face went hot as Chef's glare swung toward me. For a split second, doubt flickered in his eyes. Then he picked up one slip and shoved it onto the light. This handwriting matches the forged signature. Same slant, same loops. You're done, Tyler. Tyler's smirk cracked into anger. This is a setup. I'm not going down alone. He turned toward me with a glare that promised trouble. The fallout of that threat was about to spill into the whole kitchen, and I realized we hadn't seen the worst of him yet. Who do you think was really behind the forgery, Tyler alone, or someone helping him? Tyler shoved back his chair so hard it scraped across the tile. You think I'm stupid enough to keep cash in the cooler? He barked. Someone planted that. And if anyone had reason to, it's Marcus. His finger stabbed the air at me. My stomach dropped. What? I managed. But Tyler kept going, his voice rising. He was in the cooler right after me. He's been here longer, Chef trusts him more, what better cover? He probably forged my badge somehow. Chef's brow furrowed. The accusation was wild, but it was enough to muddy the waters. Maria tried to step in. That doesn't make sense, but Tyler cut her off. You even said you saw me in the cooler. You didn't see what I was doing. He could have slipped it in after. I felt cornered. Chef's eyes flicked between us, weighing every word. Tyler leaned in close, practically hissing. Tell the truth, Marcus. Or I swear, I'll make sure you regret it. The threat was real, but something about his desperation rang louder. He was scrambling, clawing for any way out. Still, Chef's silence was terrifying. Then Maria, almost trembling, said, Chef, there's another way to be sure. The cameras don't just show the cooler entrance. They record inside too. And with that, the one piece of evidence no one could argue with was about to surface. Chef's eyes narrowed. Inside the cooler? He spun toward the monitor set up in the office corner. Most of you don't realize it, but I had a second camera installed last year after someone kept messing with the wine shipments. His fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up the feed. My pulse thudded in my ears. Tyler shifted in his chair, for once not smirking. The screen flickered, showing grainy footage of the cooler that same night. Shelves of produce and boxes filled the frame. Then Tyler stepped in. Clear as day. He crouched low, slid the envelope behind a crate, and patted it like he was hiding buried treasure. Maria gasped. Chef's jaw tightened. I just sat there, relief flooding me. There was no mistaking it. But then, a twist I didn't expect, the footage kept rolling. A few minutes later, another figure entered the cooler. Me. I grabbed Basil and walked out, but the angle made it look like I glanced directly at the envelope. Chef paused the video, eyes on me. So, you did see it. His voice was flat, unreadable. Tyler seized on the moment. See? He knew. He kept quiet until now. He's covering for himself. My relief vanished. The evidence cleared me of planting it, but it also made me look complicit for not speaking sooner. And Chef Reynolds wasn't going to let that slide quietly. Chef leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. The room felt smaller, hotter, every breath thick with tension. Enough, he finally said, voice low but cutting. Let me make something clear, Tyler, you were caught in the act. That envelope, the cash, the forged signature, all yours. Tyler opened his mouth, ready to protest, but Chef held up a hand. No more excuses. You're done here. Clean out your station tonight. Security will escort you if necessary. Tyler's face went pale. He sputtered, then stormed out, dragging his pride, and nothing else, behind him. I exhaled, thinking it was over. Maria smiled weakly, relief flickering in her eyes. Chef turned toward me. Marcus. I trust you. You didn't plant this, you didn't forge anything. But you did see it and say nothing. His tone wasn't angry, just disappointed. That's a lesson too. In a kitchen, silence can be as dangerous as theft. I nodded, feeling the weight of the night finally settle. Maria patted my shoulder. At least the real culprit is gone. The moral hit me hard. Even when you're innocent, inaction can make you look guilty. And sometimes, the lesson is harsher than the crime itself. If you were in my shoes, would you have spoken up immediately or stayed quiet until proof surfaced? But just when I thought the worst was behind us, Tyler wasn't finished with his revenge, and the next day, something arrived at the restaurant that changed everything. The next morning, just as the first prep orders came in, A courier arrived with a plain cardboard box addressed to Chef Reynolds. He frowned, signing for it reluctantly. I watched as he lifted the lid. Inside were photos. Photos of the kitchen, the staff, the walk-in cooler. And worst of all, candid shots of me and Maria in moments Tyler could twist. My stomach sank. Tyler had clearly planned this backup move. Maria's eyes widened as she leaned over the photos. "Oh no. He's trying to make it look like we were working together," she whispered. Chef held one of the images up, silence filling the room. "Looks like someone's trying to make Marcus look guilty too," he muttered, voice tight. He set the photos down, frowning. "This changes nothing about Tyler's theft, but it's clear he's trying to drag others down. We need to be careful, document everything, and make sure nothing is misinterpreted." I felt my heart race. Tyler wasn't just gone, he was orchestrating chaos from afar. Every move we made now would be scrutinized, every step potentially twisted into evidence against us. Maria grabbed my arm. "We can't let him win. Let's get ahead of this before Chef sees something misleading." But how do you defend yourself against a ghost? Tyler had vanished physically, but his plan was still in motion, and the real storm was about to hit the kitchen in ways none of us expected. By lunchtime, the restaurant was packed. Orders flew in faster than ever, but every clang and sizzle felt like a countdown. Then the phone rang, the delivery manager, sounding frantic. "Chef Reynolds, there's an anonymous complaint about missing product. We've been asked to audit your kitchen immediately." Chef slammed the phone down. Looks like Tyler didn't learn his lesson. My pulse spiked. Anonymous complaints are dangerous, they plant suspicion where none existed. Maria froze, eyes darting nervously. "This could ruin everything," she muttered. Tyler wasn't just trying to frame me, he'd somehow managed to pull in outside forces. He had set up a chain reaction, and we were caught in it. Chef barked orders, snapping us back into action, but I noticed his eyes kept flicking toward me, as if he was reconsidering the footage, the badge scans, the envelope. Half an hour later, the auditors arrived. They moved quickly, checking deliveries, cross-referencing invoices. My stomach knotted as I realized Tyler's photos and his forged messages were already in circulation. I was worried Maria would get blamed, she had been nowhere near the cooler or the forged deliveries. Then one of the auditors held up a receipt from Tyler's last shift. It matched the handwriting in the envelope. My heart skipped. Chef's gaze met mine, resolute. "This is it. Tyler is not walking out unscathed. But we need to prove it." And that's when the unexpected twist made the entire scheme unravel completely. Just as the auditors started tallying the evidence, a small, overlooked detail caught their attention, a timestamp on a delivery receipt that didn't match any of Tyler's badge scans. They double-checked the camera logs and noticed something odd. The envelope had been moved after Tyler left the kitchen that night. I froze. That meant someone else had tried to make Tyler look guilty. But who? Maria's eyes widened as the realization hit her too. Chef rubbed his chin, scanning the footage again, slower this time. "Wait. Marcus, you were the last one in the cooler before Tyler left. Did you move that envelope?" I shook my head quickly. "No. I only grabbed Basil. I swear I didn't touch it." The auditors exchanged glances, then pulled up more footage from a different camera angle. Tyler had indeed stashed it, but someone had added cash and receipts later, after he left. The room went silent. Tyler's plan was messy, and he had underestimated Chef's surveillance and our diligence. The auditors confirmed, the extra evidence framing him as part of a larger scheme wasn't his doing. Tyler was just greedy, sloppy, and desperate. Chef leaned back, a slow smile forming. Looks like karma caught up with him, in ways even he didn't see coming. Tyler had planned a perfect storm of deception, but it had collapsed under its own weight, and now we were about to see the final consequences. By the end of the day, Tyler's fate was sealed. Security escorted him out, his attempts at manipulation and threats exposed to the auditors, Chef, and the staff. The envelope's cash was returned, the forged signature documented, and the kitchen's reputation intact. Chef pulled us aside one last time. "Marcus, Maria, you stayed professional, followed procedure, and kept your heads. That's how you survive a workplace drama. Remember, honesty isn't just about telling the truth, it's about staying vigilant, documenting everything, and speaking up when necessary." Maria smiled, relief flooding her face. I exhaled, finally letting the tension drain from my shoulders. Tyler had tried to ruin us, but his own schemes became his undoing. Karma, in a messy, dramatic way, had done its work. So here's the moral: in any workplace, The guilty often dig their own holes. Staying calm, observant, and transparent can save you, even when chaos surrounds you. If you were in my shoes, would you have confronted Tyler sooner, or let the evidence speak for itself? Drop your thoughts below, I want to hear what you would have done. And don't forget to subscribe for more true-to-life workplace dramas. The next story's setting is already insane.